Well, good evening, everybody. I just did the whole introduction with my microphone off, so I'm just going to skip right to the warning about this not being a professional broadcast. This is not a professional broadcasting crew. We are but humble league members who are doing this for fun and the love of the Sunday Night Skippy Racing League, so set your expectations accordingly. On that note, OBS, the streaming software that I use, is having a bit of a fit tonight, so hopefully it doesn't impact the stream too much. Also, human error, apparently. But at any rate, good evening, everybody. Welcome to the 12th and final week of the second season of the Sunday Night Skippy Racing League on the CavOK Racing Network. We are simulcasting tonight on both CavOK Racing Network's YouTube and Twitch platforms. So if you just search for CavOK Racing, that's CAVOK, you'll be able to find us on either. As always, we try to monitor the comments on both platforms live, so send in your questions, comments, and we'll try to get to them as time permits. I am Chris, and I'm coming to you tonight from the virtual circuit Gilles Villeneuve on the Ile de Notre Dame, Montreal. And that was my horrible attempt at French. We'll try to stay away from that for the rest of the night. Before we get into actually talking about the race itself and the championship implications, the drivers and the track, I want to talk about the championship implications. So I did a little bit of an interview with league member and driver Sean Trediak, who will be racing tonight. He was able and gracious enough, really, to crunch some numbers and look at potential championship implications for tonight's race. The way we do the standings, we are able, as the drivers, to drop 2 races. So basically, if you miss one or you just had a bad result, you can those do not count toward your overall championship standings, and which creates it's good, but it creates difficulty in analyzing. So he threw some stuff together, and here's my interview with him earlier today. All right, Sean, thanks for joining us. We have brought you in. You were kind enough to go through and pull some data, analyze it a little bit, make it a little palatable for us to look at where the points are at right now with the drop weeks going into this championship race. And in addition, you kind of looked at some of the incident statistics as well. And I just wanted to get, kind of pick your brain. What did you see that was interesting to you as you developed this, where the points standings are at the moment going into the race?
Yeah, thanks, Chris. So this is my first season with really any league. Um, so of course I've been following along. We use Lisa to track points. As we've gotten close to the end, I know that we dropped two worst weeks for each driver. But they're not reflected yet because we've got one race left. So I sort of went back through the season to see who's where. And so, obviously, I started looking at myself. I can see that I'm quite some distance behind Jack and Carrington, and I'm clear of some other people behind me. But it looks like my whole season comes down to me staying 2 points, 2 positions within 2 positions of Oliver. Um, Same thing happens up and down the whole grid. If we look at the top three, I could have told you intuitively. I know Christian and Edwin have been killing it the weeks they show up. Pete is always fast. James is always fast. But it turns out when you drop the weeks in advance, assuming all these people show up, I fully expect they'll be here. Um, that Christian's 5 points ahead of Pete and Ed. Um, I think it's going to be really fascinating to find out, Christian and Ed work together, see if they change their dynamics during the race. I think they're going to be fighting pretty hard this race.
And it's
Um,
good to note to the leader for a point. Now there are some bonus points as well, so we'll see how that bears out. But the winner gets 50 points. Second place gets 47, and I believe from there on, so there's a 3 point gap there. I believe from there on out, all the way down, there's subtract 2 points, subtract 2 points. So to your point, when you look at how many points you are behind, you got to figure 2 points per spot, basically, except for between 1 and 2.
Yeah, so you're right at the top of the grid. Now, where I live in the grid is actually 1 point per spot. That's cool, exactly. So these top three people, you could find that the first place person today is going to earn 5 more points than the third place person. So, for example, if Christian comes in third or better, he guarantees himself at least a tie for the win, except for what you point out. So we give bonus points for fastest lap, for leading a lap, and for leading the most laps. I actually think the bonus points are going to probably end up determining the whole season winner.
Which is crazy. When you think about it, how tight that is. And I was kind of shocked by how far back, James and Jonathan Dance and Chris Herrera, and actually a couple of those guys, Lyndon McMurphy, Don Parks. I was surprised how far back those drivers were, considering how fast and consistent they are. And when I originally started thinking about it, I was like, oh, James, he's kind of out of it, but at the same time, maybe not. 16 points back from that third place position there.
Well, if someone's going to come out from the pack and win, it's going to be James. He's such a fast driver. But yeah, mathematically, it just doesn't to me look likely that he's going to win the season. Um, but then you look and he's clear of Jonathan Dance by quite a bit too. So I'm thinking James is going to be fourth in the season. That's just my Vegas odds um, because he's so consistent. But then the other driver I watch obviously is my brother-in-law Rich. He's back in this pack. If we look at 22nd through 28th, they are just so incredibly tightly packed. I fully expect a shuffle because Rich is surrounded by all these really fast drivers, but then some of them aren't just consistent in their finishing. So I'm expecting that 22nd through 28th to totally shuffle today.
And those are pretty consistent drivers down there. That was the other exact group that caught my eye there, 22 through 28. So it'll be really cool to see how that plays out. And to your point, back in the mid pack, anything can happen. One tire off the track at any given point, and it's a season changer right there. The other, I think, just trying to see where I stood because I've only raced one or two races this season, focusing mainly on the broadcast. But there's a few folks behind me there I'm currently sitting 38th, but quite a few folks that might work their way up and leapfrog there up into the high 30s, mid 30s, based on the fact that I won't be racing. So that's some automatic points, hopefully, for them over myself.
Well, so that brings us to I did some other analysis. So I did a chart showing how many points did each driver get on average per start, and so someone like you are going to be actually pretty far up that list. Um, because the races you show to you do really well. I see you in 20 fourth position on that list. The ones who win all the time, we know who they are the ones who do well. So we look at the top ones. We've got Christian and Ed are tied for points per start at 48. We've got some new people who are new to the Sunday Night Skippies who are doing fantastic. So, for example, Carl Dronke, Lauren Avery are just killing it the nights that they show up.
Yep, the Carl joined late in the season, kind of a victim of circumstance there, but when he races, you can expect a good result from him. It'll be really fun to see that top pack just kind of growing as we move into season three. Was there anybody else that kind of stuck out to you there in the points per start?
Sure. So Chris Herrera, I mean, I personally have passed him on the last lap as he's sputtered to the finish line. So we know uh, if if he and even still he scores 37 points per start. So I know if he can nail down that fuel strategy for next season, I expect he's going to be knocking on the door of top three finish next.
Well, I think this is a great view to have that points per start, to your point of people may join later in the season or whatnot, kind of a good consistency sort of rating, if you will. So um, I didn't see anything else that really jumped out at me there, other than the fact that Carrington Wilmer and I have the exact same points per start. So I'm looking forward to giving him some grief for that.
I've been on track with him, and I can tell you, he'll say stuff like, "Oh man, I'm stupid slow this week," and he'll still pass me. He's an extraordinary
Right.
driver, right? He's an extraordinary driver, but he doesn't always bring it home. Oh yeah, I think he's actually just ahead of me in the main standings, point standings, and I can tell you if he finishes, well, he's going to beat me. That's all there is to it because I'm just not that fast, as fast as he is. I mean, I'll just say this for people who haven't run with Sunday Night Skippies, all these guys are fast. I mean, yeah, whoever you see on the bottom of our list is a fast driver.
Yeah, no arguments there. The last piece here that I'll bring up, you ran some numbers on the incident points per lap. Now, you can go back and forth, incidents per race, etc. But I kind of like the incidents points per lap because I feel like it normalizes the data just a little bit better than some other metrics out there. But also, looking at this, you do see some people that you would expect, and maybe not so much. I was surprised to see myself as third on that list. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm at the top of some list, so I was
You're at the
happy to
top of
see it.
that list. You're third in safest. So I'm calling this the safest driver list. And so we've got Lauren in far and away ahead. And yes, you're third. I'm totally mid pack on this, and I'll just say, I mean, one of the things I've been learning to get faster. I've also been learning to avoid incidents, and I'm sure that some drivers out there I've made contact with. I'm sure trying to avoid that these days. But I'll say, I'm mid pack. These people, Lauren gets 10 laps for every 1 lap that I make clean. It's just incredible. So one of my personal goals would be to move up this list. But for example, the one that jumped out at me is Pete. I mean, he's running right up there with the fastest people. He is one of our fastest drivers, but he's super clean.
Yeah, the I guess that is a point to bring up. You look at the people who I'm surrounded by, and they have significantly more laps than I do. And Pete kind of jumps out. Chris Stewart as well. He hasn't raced the past few weeks, but always known as a super clean driver. And Jeff Torbeck up there, great to see. 210 laps, more laps than Pete, and just slightly off. I guess pace, if that's the right word for incidents. So
Well, it's
newcomer
funny
Nikolai Wood up there as well.
you mentioned Jeff, and I'll say, unfortunately, he's one of the people I personally took out way back when I started. So 4 of his points are my points, and of course, um, iRacing format does not differentiate between who creates a crash. So um, I'm gonna take 4 of Jeff's points if I could, but I
Okay.
can't. But I would.
That is
And I
so.
apologize
If
to Jeff.
anybody, for anybody who is kind of new to iRacing or family, friends, whatever, important to note, kind of what Sean is touching on here is it's a no fault system. So an incident isn't necessarily something that you, as the driver, caused. If you get taken out from behind, you get incident points as well. Um, Now you can argue whether or not you could have done anything to avoid it, but that's the idea: is that if you're involved in a wreck, no matter whose quote unquote fault it is, you're still gonna accrue points. So yeah, well, I don't see any other. Was there anything else that jumped out at you on that? I thought we pretty
No,
much touched
no.
on everything.
No, but since I'm in the booth, I just want to throw out a few thanks. I have to say,
Absolutely.
Jason, yeah, Jason, who's one of our big administrators, he was just incredibly helpful and encouraging to me as I worked through, hitting people and feeling bad about that. I never feel that bad when other people hit me. I feel horrible when I hit other people. So he just has been so encouraging as I've worked my way from barely making our cutoff times to sort of not having to worry about that anymore. He's a very helpful guy. I want to say thanks to James Hauser. Every time he puts out a video, I just learn so much from it. I hope I know it's a lot of time for him. I just want him to know it's totally appreciated. Um, look, I reached out to Christian when he made such an incredible win using fuel strategy, and he was kind enough to share some tips to me. So I'll say I'm trying to improve my fuel strategy. I'm no master like he is, but I'm getting there. Jonathan Dockery, really quickly, he spent some time lapping with me as I was trying to get up to speed. I appreciate his time, and then lastly, I'll say you, Chris. Not only me, but a lot of my friends will watch the broadcast, and I totally enjoy it.
Awesome. Well, it's good to hear. And for the rest of the people that you mentioned, I couldn't have said it better myself. I think, we've been trying to do a good job of thanking the folks who make Sunday Night Skippy what it is. Certainly the league administrators like Jason and Ian and James, like you were talking about, kind of have set the structure in place for great things to happen. It's a fun, I don't know if I call it distraction, but it's just a great way to get together with internet strangers, I guess, and it's a good supportive community. So if anybody's out there and they have a C-class road license or better and interested in joining, I highly recommend it. We have some good Week 13. It's an endurance race planned, so if you're interested in that, I recommend trying to get signed up for that. But outside of that, yeah, I can't believe the season went as fast as it did, if I'm being perfectly honest. But it was
It's been an incredible season. The grids are getting big, and I'll say I totally enjoy it. You mentioned someone that I didn't put on my list, but now that you mention it, Ian makes me smile every single week. That guy is so funny.
yeah, he's a welcome addition to the booth for sure. I don't know that we're helping his race strategy at all by having him talk, but we certainly appreciate it, and I think it's good. Hopefully the viewers appreciate the perspective that he's bringing from down there on the track itself. Well, Sean, thank you so much for crunching that data for us and joining us to kind of help analyze it a little bit. And is there anything else you'd like to say?
No, thanks so much.
Awesome. Well, thank you. Good luck in the race this evening, and we will see you after the checkered flag.
Awesome. All right. See you then.
All right. Well, that was our interview with Sean Trediak. Thanks again for doing that. Not that you want to hear that opening song again, but we'll hold off on that. And we'll actually now unmute Discord. We are running just a little bit behind, but Riley unable to make it tonight. Megan as well, once again. However, fear not. We have the one, the only, the irreplaceable Ian with us tonight. Do you got a good copy with us up here in the booth?
I do, sir. Can you hear me?
I can, and I apologize. I think we're running a little bit behind. I'd like to hang out with you, though, and see how the track is treating you tonight, and see if you can't teach us a little bit about this island-based track.
Oh, cool. Well, good evening, everybody. And you probably, I don't know if you heard any of my previous conversations. I hope you didn't. But there you go.
I think I had you muted. I told you I had you muted at least. I don't know if that's true, but
I hope you did. Right now we're running in the third circuit of hell in terms of track temperatures. It is really warm today on the track. And for those of you who are a bit new to following racing, and this really pertains to any kind of racing, whether it's simulated or real, the warmer the track, the less grip you have. And this track is an interesting one. I don't know if the camera's on me at the moment, but I'm just coming up to the start-finish line. And it basically is a bunch of straights separated by chicanes. So here's the start-finish line. Here's our first chicane. This is known as the Center S. So we go down into second, then down into first, and just sort of hug the inside. It looks really slow. It feels really slow. But that's the Center S. And then we come up to the next set of chicanes, where we go through a little right, left. Do you see this wall where I'm going to bump it? Lots of tire marks on there. Expect to see some people catch that a bit too aggressively. And then we come along here to yet another chicane. This one's a much faster speed chicane, where you'll run through it at a much higher rate. We go blasting along here, underneath the bridge, and slow down for another chicane, surprisingly enough. And which is coming up here. This is the second gear for me in this one, with these big lumps, and another wall where you'll see people bump into. Coming down for the hairpin, and this is over 180-degree turn. You're approaching in 5th gear, and then you're going to brake all the way down into 1st, and then round and accelerating back up. Whoops, the longest straight on the track, where I think this is called the Casino Straight, or Le Droit de Casino, if you want it in French. And you come belting up here, you eventually get up into 5th gear, running at about 120 miles an hour. If you get a nice friendly tow, I'm now at about 115 and climbing. And then you go, yes, you guessed it, another set of chicanes. But I'm sliding a little bit through there. Wall of champions here, right there. You try not to hit. And then back up and you blast along and climb over the start-finish line. Now this is a bit more of a boring track than the other tracks we've had, because apart from the center S, which is this corner here, I'm going around nice and slow now, there's not very many named corners, but this is actually a track that is used currently by the Formula One racing program, and so it's currently used, although with COVID it hasn't been used for a while, and it's built on an artificial island. So this island was actually created as part of a park, and it's the Circuit de Gilles Villeneuve, who is the father of Jacques Villeneuve, who was a racer, who died, and they named the circuit after him, and he was from Montreal. So there you go. Bit of history of the track.
It seems like your French is much better than mine, by the way. I embarrassed myself earlier, but this seems like a pretty good mix then of draft, but also braking zones. Where do you see the most potential for passing and overtakes here?
This is going to be a fun corner to watch. There's going to be a lot of overtaking here under braking as people get all the way down to the first. I mean, you can see how far around I've got to go on that one right there. So a lot of overtaking under braking there. You're going to see some drafting, especially along this straight here. And so as people are getting up to their top speed, which in a Skippy with a draft, you're looking at about 125 miles an hour maybe, if you're going really, really quickly. They're going to come blasting along here, and you'll see some folks pull out. You're looking on the left for the number 2 mark about there. That's where you really start to break down to get into 3rd. And then look at the size of these bumps. Look at the size of these barriers on either side of me here. I mean, you know, they'll take a good chunk out of your car if you hit them too hard. The other thing is, you got to be really careful, because if you take them too far to the left or too far to the right, in other words, you get your car a little bit too far over it, you get what's called an off-track and a slowdown penalty. And so you'll see, let me do one here. If I take this like too deep like this, they'll say, oh, you went off track, and I've got a 2.1 second slowdown penalty for that, where they make you slow down to give back the time that you quote unquote gained going through that corner. And now my time has gone, I'm down to back, I can carry on racing. So it's a penalty to stop people abusing the limits of the track. So you've got a lot of opportunities for that, like there, you can do it here. You probably won't see as much overtaking going along in this area unless someone has a bit of a death wish. But there you go.
Awesome.
Should be a fun race.
Well, we are looking forward to it, watching. We're about to start the open qualifying session here, so we will let you go for the time being. You will unfortunately have to listen to me babble on as you do that, but good luck in your qualifying session, and we'll check in with you a little bit later. Yeah. All right. Well, let's pop up the race info one more time here so we can get a sense. You just saw Ian take us around the track, 2.68 mile. Like he said, it's on a man-made island. Temperature is a little bit warmer than normal. 104 being the ambient temperature right now. Or I'm sorry, that's the track temperature. And otherwise a nice day, I suppose. But that's gonna make it a little slicker for these guys, especially around those tight corners, especially on the colder tires. we've been seeing a lot cleaner first laps going out, but as second and third laps, you got to find the right point at which you can start pushing that car to its limits, and that's the dance, as they say. So we will check in here now with some of our qualifiers as we go around and talk about them. Let's start with our current. Any standings talk, I'll make a disclaimer here. Any standings talk is going to be based on Sean Trediak's spreadsheets, which is different if any league members are watching at the moment. Different than what we have on the Dan Lisa site, for sure. But he painstakingly made this, and I think he's got some solid math behind it, so we will use that. Let's start looking here with Christian Perez, who currently holds the points lead with drop weeks included. However, he only has a 5-point lead over both Pete Mobrotten and Edwin Villarino. And we will look in with Edwin here. He's in that number 11 car. And I will be honest and say I don't see... Oh, there's Pete. Okay. I was like, man, did Pete not make it tonight? That would be not good. Let's bring up real quick, as I should have done to begin with, the timing tower on the left for the qualifying. If I can remember, we're going to put up the best time so you can see everybody's qualifying time. Magenta obviously being the fastest, which Edwin currently holds. And as people set down times, the timing tower will populate. We currently, just for everybody's situational awareness, let's see, actually I'm not sure how many people we have in here right now, but you can see right there as people lose and gain positions. And we will also put up the track map once again, and we're going to use... Oop, that's not working. Alright, we'll see if we can fix that real quick.
You're not having a lot of luck tonight, are you, Chris?
I'm telling you, Ian, this has just been... If it's not one thing, it's another. We don't have a track map at the moment. There we go, alright. It looks like the streaming software has settled down a little bit there as Pete scrubs the wheels. Jonathan Dockery making a third place qualifying time at the moment. Welcome to Jonathan, with Jason Bice just behind him. Jason Bice currently sitting in the 9th position overall in the championship standings, and I should have mentioned Jonathan Dockery is currently 26th, as Jason falls to the 10th position now. And actually, since we were been talking about him, Sean Trediak here is holding down the 4th position right now. Great showing from him, as both Bowers and Torbeck set times in the 4th and 5th positions. Jeff Torbeck, who we mentioned earlier, is one of the cleaner drivers in the league, along with Pete. He's driving that Mountain Dew livery in the 42 car. Hard to miss. Check in with Mike Bowers, who is just above him in the 4th position, trying to avoid the spinning 19 car there. Gets around. That's the joy of the open qualifier. For those who are not familiar, all the race cars are out on the same track at the same time, trying to set down qualifying laps, which has both its benefits and its challenges. At a track like this, you may gain some advantage from a draft, but at the same time, you do have to navigate traffic. Good to see James Hauser checking in on the live stream there. Sorry you couldn't make it, but James is actually doing some in real life, or IRL as the kids would say, racing. So good to... We certainly don't hold it against him, too bad at least. But we shall, I guess, leave the championship talk for Christian and Pete and Edwin at the moment because of that. We're all a little jealous. Chris Herrera's in the house. Team running on empty. Looks like he's got a hot new paint scheme in that 687 car. He's deciding just not to do that turn. Welcome to Nikolai Wood. He's also a standout in the points per race and also incidents per lap standings. Walter Collada is here as well in the 00. Walter currently, let's see if I can find him there. Walter sitting in the 37th spot. He hasn't had too many races with us. Relative newcomer. Carl Dronke has taken over the pole position. Again, we mentioned him in the interview. He is a latecomer to the league, although a pretty fast Skippy racer. If you're on the iRacing service and do any Skippy racing, you'll probably recognize Carl's name. Glad to have him here with us. Won't be competing for the championship tonight. However, I think season 3, he's going to create a little bit of depth for us there for sure. Justin K bringing home the 9th qualifying time of the evening so far. Justin sitting in 35th in points. Again, a late addition, so very excited to see what he's got for next season, if he can run a full one. Joshua Dancy, also a relatively newcomer. He's doing pretty well, though. We've got some movers and shakers on the board there. Another point to make, we've made this before. We've made this point before for the open qualifiers. You know, Ian was talking about the off tracks that you can get if you're new to iRacing or friend and family. Don't do it at all. If you get one of those off tracks, your qualifying time does not count. So that's why you'll see some of those faster drivers will fall all the way down. It's probably because they got an off track on that one lap. Had to wait another lap to have a clean lap with no off tracks. And then you can see them kind of rising, kind of like Jason just did there. Scott Dorkins, a recipient, I guess a re-recipient of a Class B license as of today. Good to see that coming through in the clutch as the season comes to an end. Also, welcome to Darren Chernick. Again, another relative newcomer. Holding down the 14th position for the moment. Steve Dewar in everybody's favorite Iron Man livery, the 66 car. Got that 19th position there on lockdown for the moment, and Steve is currently sitting in 10th position in points. He is only 5 points behind Jason Bice, so that will be a battle to keep an eye on, where Steve and Jason find themselves through the field. That would be about 3 to 4 positions. I'm not exactly, I gotta go look and see exactly where we move from 2 points between positions and 1, but he's going to need probably 4 positions at least to be comfortable over Jason. Adam Wright from Chicago. And there's Douglas Colligan in the 21st position. Making his way through one of the chicanes. Barry Stockdale who I'm not sure I've called his name before. So welcome to the league, Barry. Not sure if you're new or if you just haven't been in a race for a while, but either way, welcome or welcome back. We'll put it that way. Barry Stockdale. And there is Rich Butler, brother-in-law to Sean Trediak, as he finds the wall that Ian was talking about there. Currently in the 23rd.
Ask me, Steve. I'm got a crap rat. Or sorry, Mike.
As we see Ian, we just tuned India.
Yeah, I had a spin, so I'm just getting round to actually try and put in a better lap, so letting people pass me.
Very good. Yeah, and that's another thing that I've brought up before, but probably worth mentioning if there's any first-time viewers. If you, maybe not spin, but if you have to, if you crash, kind of like what we saw at Rich there, and you have to tow back or start over, you're basically on brand new tires, which isn't necessarily a good thing. You got to warm those tires back up, and that takes I don't know, 3-4 laps maybe. I'm not exactly sure on this. Or even 5, exactly. So you're kind of wasting time. Unfortunately, if you make a mistake on that open qualifier, and it's going to severely impact your ability to set down a better time. Also new, Jerry Gruber, currently in the 25th starting position. And Oliver Hartley in the Google number 2 car. New for next season, we will have teams in team championships, so that's something to look forward to. It'll be a 2-person, 2-driver team max, and it'll add a little bit to the races, I think. I'm looking forward to that. I don't know who's going to want to be on a team with somebody who only races a couple of races a season, but it should be good to see from a spectator standpoint. Thomas Photos has yet to set a time here, but we see him going off track in the 350 car. Looks like he'll be starting though. Currently have 30 people on the grid. 26 have set times at the moment. Robert Longitano, Alex Matty, and Samuel Bridges are currently off at the moment, although they are in the session. Check back in with Christian, who appears to have gone around, although he does have the pole at the moment. Looks like he, Edwin, and Pete are all in the pits, along with Justin K. Carl Dronke's still out on the track. We are closing in on that 15-minute time limit. Important note, if you are out on a lap once the 15 minutes expires, you get to complete that lap. So once we see that timer click down another 20 seconds now, if you're past the start finish line, you get to finish that lap and try to set a fast time. Good to hear from the current champion at the moment, I should say, Christian Perez. Thanks for joining us on the stream for a little bit. Good luck tonight to you. It's going to be a close race. Bonus points count. Laps led. All that stuff. There's going to be no margin for error when it comes to a Sunday Night Skippy championship for Season 2. As we see the checkered flag fly, we will watch as folks come in for their final hot lap. Looks like we've still got... Oh, what happened there? Having all sorts of fun tonight with the software. Steve, nicely done. Mike Bowers sets the 7th place. You can see that last lap sometimes means everything. Dancy gains a few spots. See if Hartley, nope. Oh. Oh. Oh, Scott. That was Scott Dorkins is limps it across the line. I don't think he's going to be setting his best time there, unfortunately.
Oh dear.
Well, we'll take a look at the grid here. We do have 30 people, so once more, I will just have it up there for people to see. In past, I've read it all off, but and Christian brings up a fantastic point. One bonus point for him. That's gives him one more point of cushion between him and Teat and Edwin. So every little bit counts. Every little bit counts because you never know what's going to happen. And we'll look through here. A lot of series regulars, a lot of newer folks or relatively newer folks. It's good to see everybody though. And there's down to 30 who's going to round out your field for this evening. And in honor of Ian, I will remember to change it from best time to gap for the timing tower.
There you go. There you go, sir. I was just about to say something, and I thought, you know.
Take a look here at the starting grid from the blimp.
Looks like we've lost a couple of folks due to network problems.
Does appear that way. Moffat, Dockery, all out. We'll see what happens there. And we're green. We're off. This is the final week, week 12, championship race for Sunday Night Skippy Racing League. And away they go. Looks like we're making it through the first few turns here, relatively incident-free. Oops. I told you we were having some internet issues tonight here. As we see the field snake through the turns. Christian has opened up a pretty good gap between himself and Edwin and Carl. And most of the field has kind of spread out, although we do see a move from Justin K on Scott Dorkins there. They'll give themselves some room. Check in here as Chris Herrera is making his way past Nikolai Wood. He's got his work cut out for him tonight. So far, so good. Looks like Samuel Bridges and Barry Stockdale have crashed. Let's check that out in a second. We do have Pete Mobron currently in 4th. Really, Carl Dronke, the spoiler at the moment for those top championship contenders. Oh, who was that? That was Mike Bowers. Made contact there.
darn. Somebody just ran me into the wall of champions. Oh.
Looks like we've got all sorts of crashes going on here.
Yeah, well, this is a good time to say again, you know, you get your one free fast repair, or your car gets fixed. I don't know if you can see me, but I've got no wheel on that side. You can see how the side pod here is all mashed up, and the side pod over here is all broken up. I've got no back wing, and I've got no front. Well, I've got the front wing, but it's not much of it left, and all front of the car's a bit broken. But if you, I don't know if you're looking through the cockpit view, I don't know if you can see what I'm looking at, but it says here one fast repair remaining. So you'll see all of a sudden, when my numbers go down to 0, my car will magically come back to life with all the bits on it. Here we go, 3, there we go, and off I go. And now it's all back again.
There you go.
It's still a bit scratched up though, it didn't fix the paintwork. I'm a bit disappointed with that. I mean, it's like, come on guys, what do you think I pay you for? Fix the paintwork.
They're not miracle workers, Ian. Come on.
But they should be.
I think we've got everybody somewhat sorted out there. Mike Bowers, Rich Butler, Darren Chernick, Ian Worrell, all pitting. Barry Stockdale, Samuel Bridges as well, all had to pit for incidents there.
Now, don't forget, that does not mean that we've pitted for our mandatory pit stop, which I don't think we mentioned yet today.
I don't think we did. That is right. We have restricted the fuel level in the car to force a mandatory pit stop, which adds the strategy to the race as Carl Dronke and Pete Mobron take over. I don't know if... Looks like... What happened? Sorry. I feel like we may have missed something here.
I can hear some discussion. Jonathan Lancy was saying something, but I don't know if that has anything to do with it.
See if we can see what happened. I don't know. He just... It looks like... Christian just kind of backed up. I didn't see him hit anything. I didn't see him... I don't know if he's going for fuel strategy or... Tough to say. Or if he got a slowdown. That may be it. That was one of the things that I was warned about going into the race, right?
There are
if
some
you see
big
somebody slow
slowdowns,
down.
up to 3 seconds, which is huge. Which is huge.
So now Christian now, the presumptive champion going into the race, is suddenly 7th place in the pack. Let's check in here with Steve Dewar. Looks like he may have had a wreck. He cooks it through the chicane. Thomas Photos as well. Looks like he was out on his own. Oh. I don't know what happened, Thomas. He had to slow down as well. Must have. He just decided to pull over and serve it there.
I swear the track is getting warmer.
Darren Chernick goes for a wild ride. Oh my
goodness.
My
gosh, it's like driving on ice. It's not easy.
Let's ride along with him on that one. Oh my goodness. And not to focus on all the wrecks, but we've got a couple more. Oh my gosh, and Pete Mobron looks like he's crashed. Here we're looking in with Jack Moffitt. As he loses his nose cone and front wing. Ian, we'll ride along with you for your wreck here.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, there you go. Oh, that wasn't too bad, actually.
I just got smashed into the wall of champions. Does that mean I'm a champion?
It does. That's exactly what that means.
Probably
Pete
the
Mobron. Oh, man alive. Pete Mobron looks like he's out of it now. He's going to have to pit and take a quick repair. Let's see if we can see what happened to him. Nothing that we can tell. Oof. Nikolai Wood. Oh man, he's trying to regain the track and he makes contact. What was that? Don Parks, potentially? Have to look. Walter Collada has crashed. Oh, that was Walter Collada, the 00. Okay, I got the numbers wrong. Oh my goodness. Well, I don't even, to be honest with you, I gotta figure out what's happening in the actual race at the moment. This is, things have gotten crazy here. We'll ride along with Nikolai Wood. Oh, it looks like he may have been touched from behind as he tries to regain the track position. Probably didn't even see Walter there. Holy cow. Alright, well. This is, yes, Jenny and Frank, get him, Chris, but also, wow, what is happening? And Jason Bice is in the lead.
So I've just
Jason
been told
Bice,
by my
who-
crew chief that the track temperatures dropped to 98 Fahrenheit. So it should
to
whip up a
98.
little bit. Yeah, it dropped. There you go. That's how crazy it is.
Well, Jason Bice is currently sitting ninth. He's got the duo of Edwin and Christian behind him, but I believe this is the first time that Jason's been leading this season out there. Not that he's ninth in points, so he's obviously a fantastic driver, but this has got to be very exciting for him.
It's a bit of a
That's
war of
awesome.
attrition today.
It really, really is. So we've got Pete Broughton, Mike Bowers, Rich Butler, Jack Moffitt, and Darren Chernick all have been in the pits. And it looks like Jeff Torbeck and Scott Dorkins and Justin Kay have crashed. Let's check in to see if we can see what happened there. Oh my goodness. I can't even keep up with this. He tries to, yeah, Jeff tries to check up for the 10 car there. And it just doesn't happen. We'll check in here with Scott Dorkins. I don't know if this was related. It was very... Oh, he was trying to avoid. I think they just got... It tagged him for an accident just because he slowed down so much. Scott Dorkins, who introduced us to Skippy, the kangaroo, which is a thing. Alright, back up here with our leader, Jason Bice. Let's look back. That's what he's got in his rear view. That's not anything I would want to see, personally. Edwin, Christian, Don, and 1.4 seconds back from there is Carl. I'm trying to find where Jason took the lead. I feel like there's a story there.
Definitely going to have
Let's try
some
to
interesting
find out.
interviews.
Yeah. So that was on Pete's crash. He made it around. It looks like there was some slowdowns that had happened, and Jason did not have one. So he just kind of took over, went for it. Good job. That was a good battle right there he had with the 11 car of Edwin Viorino. Check back in with him. Edwin, Christian, and Don. Bring back up the track map, which is not coming back up. I'll tell you, Ian.
I hear you,
It's a
mate.
weird night for
That's
everybody. It's a weird night for everybody. There we go. So we've got a pretty good battle there, P1 through P4. Chris Herrera is giving Carl Dronke a run for his money as well. He's going to round out the 6th place position. These guys are all right there, though. It's another 7 seconds back to the 7th place. Joshua Dancy. So really, this is kind of, you know, pit stops. Oh, back to the pit stops. That's what we were talking about. Fuel levels are restricted, forces a mandatory pit stop. That's going to bring in some strategy to the race. You will have to pit once. To Ian's point, though, that's not going to be met. That requirement's not going to be met because of a P1, or I'm sorry, lap 1, lap 4 pit for damage, basically.
Yeah, the problem would be that if you tried to refuel at that point, you still wouldn't get enough fuel to get you to the end of the race.
Not even close. Not even close. Although we are rounding the 13-minute mark there of the 40-minute timed race. Let's take a look at Don Park's view of this battle of the top 4. Jason is going to have Edwin and Christian go by. They're going to go wheel to wheel through the center as Carl makes it pass as well. So we're kind of 2 by 2 with Jason looking on. And I'll even say that Chris Herrera has now made contact with this front group. So here you are, the top 6. Quite a grouping there. Let's check back here for just a minute. We got Justin K hunting down Scott Dorkins with Sean Trediak just behind him. And Pete Mo Broughton, who's made it back onto the track, he is down 13 spots to the 17th position. Currently showing 40 seconds behind the leaders, which is actually pretty impressive given the incident that he had and the repairs that he had to do. Still in the lead lap, although he's got his work cut out for him if he's got any hope of claiming that season championship. He and Mike Bowers both involved in early incidents. He's got Mike right ahead of him. There's Adam Wright as well with the 87 car, currently holding down the 14th spot. He's up 9 spots. Seems like a good time as any. I'll bring up the total gains or losses for the race. Oliver Hartley, who is ahead of Adam Wright by a position, as you see him scoot by in the Google car, he is actually currently your top gainer, up 11 spots to P13. Looks like Pete's made the pass on Mike Bowers as he's working his way through the field. We'll check back in with our lead pack here of Edwin, Christian, Carl, Don, Jason, and Chris. There's going to be no love lost here, for sure. Seems like they're giving themselves a little bit of space, though. Leading a lap does count. Walter Collada is back in the pits. I believe he was in earlier. He's already a minute 15 down.
So people are going to start thinking about pitting. I've got about 10 minutes of fuel remaining on board right now. So this is now the time where people are going to start to think about getting their cars in. Pit strategies will be coming out and so on. So you should be able to start watching for that very soon.
Looks like Walter kind of figured, hey, you know, I'm down already. Might as well go in and try to undercut the leaders, see what happens. Curious to see how that works out for him. Gotta throw the Hail Mary though. You're down that much anyway, so. Look back here to Sean Trediak. Our number cruncher looks like he's caught up with Scott Dorkins and Justin K. Yes. They have Nikolai Wood just ahead of them. You can see the 7 car there of Jack Moffitt, who is a lap down at the moment. Also involved in some early incidents. Here's Steve Dewar, who's made his way back onto the track. In 21st position. He has another 9 seconds to go to get to Thomas Fotos. As we near the halfway point, let's check back in with that lead group and see what they're up to. Carl Dronke
There's an
has
incident in
taken
World
the
of
lead.
Champions. I don't know if someone just did an off track or not.
Somebody just did. Oh no! Oh yeah, something happened. That's a good call. Chris Herrera seems to have crashed. Let's see what may have happened there.
Thomas Fotos is in the pits.
Oh, the 54 of Don Parks just made contact with the back of Chris Herrera, so he's going to be set back just a little bit. He's still in P6. He's still got 4 seconds over P7, but he's going to have to make his way back up. Looks like Carl, Edwin, and Christian now are the top 3. They've opened up a 2.5 second gap back to Don Parks and Jason Bice, with Chris Herrera another almost 4 seconds now back from that. I think that's based off of that latest incident right there, so kind of separated them out just a touch. So it looks like that lead pack of 6 starting to thin out just a bit, although I got to imagine pit strategy is going to start coming into play here as Nikolai Wood, Pete, Mo Broughton, Scott Dorkins, Oliver Hartley, and Barry Stockdale all come in. Looks like these are folks who are trying to undercut a little bit. We either ran into issues early or just weren't having the night they wanted to. They're trying to undercut the leaders and hope that something happens. Right along board here with Jason Bice for a minute. As Oliver Hartley makes the pass for that 16th position over Jerry Gruber. And that's what we got going on for the moment. It appears Carl, Chris Herrera, and Adam Wright are now all in the pits. We can take a look at pit lane and the race off. You can see that appears to be Chris making his way through the pits. Adam Wright still on pit road. So we can see people making their pit strategy known at the moment. We'll take the gains down and add a pit lap. So this will be lap whatever they pit. For example, Carl obviously pit lap 11. We'll keep our eye on pit lane as we come back up here to the front with Edwin and Christian. Take a look forward from Don Parks. And Jason has worked his way back up there. He's still hanging out in fourth as people are cycling through. And there you see the pit stops from the top 3 and 4. Jason Bice also makes his way into pit road. So, this is where it starts to get interesting. The person, let's see, K, who's currently in 6th, he's 20 seconds back. Also pits. So this may be one of the last pit stop moments here. We are 3 minutes past halfway on the race, so that makes sense. Douglas Colligan, the only person. Let's see if he makes his way in, but you can see Carl now making his way up through the standings. As Edwin, Christian, Don, and Jason all come out. Carl's going to open up a 2-second lead. Wow. Fantastic work there by Carl Dronke. Douglas Colligan, currently showing P5, has not pit yet. Will still need to pit. And that's pretty much it for the rest of the field. Looks like Gruber's in finally. Dewar has not pit, although I imagine he will be soon. And then Samuel Bridges. So now it becomes, can Carl survive? And that's only going to give Christian a potential 2 points over Edwin, although he still has it in hand at the moment, even if Edwin beats him. With Pete now showing P16, 42 seconds back from the leaders. Things are looking really good for Christian. See Mike Bowers and Jason Bice. Edwin Viorino on the pit lane. What? You can see Edwin, Mike. Not exactly sure what just happened there. They have re-entered pit lane. I don't know if they didn't get enough fuel or if they got a penalty, a stop and go penalty. Check in here. Looks like Jeff Torbeck, Sean Trediak, and Scott Dawkins. We're having a good battle here for that 10th position. Top 10 is always good to have on the old stat sheet. Look back from Jeff Torbeck's view. Really curious to see what happened, because now we have Carl Dronke's still in the lead, opening up a 2.6 second lead on Christian Perez, and then Don Parks. I don't know what the heck. I was trying to figure out what happened, but guess we'll have to wait and see. Hopefully they'll be willing to do a post-race interview, figure out what the heck that was all about. Walter Collada looks like he's crashed.
You need to go watch that one.
Was that you?
I didn't touch him.
Oh.
There was no contact, as far as I can tell.
I'll be the judge of that.
Go for it.
No contact. No, Walter kind of cooked it around the chicane there. No contact, though. He'll be no contact with anything. He'll be on his way.
Good. Is he back running?
Back running. Not an issue.
Excellent.
So now, Christian Perez has passed Carl Dronke for P1, although there's just so much. Let's look at this pass. Oh, Carl had to serve a penalty, it looks like. I can't imagine that he just let Christian just pass right there for no reason.
Slow down, probably.
Oof.
Isn't it? Steve looks like he did a bit of an off track at the hairpin.
Yeah, let's see what Steve was up to. 66 car comes into... Oh, that wasn't too bad.
I think Jim's totally trying to make me feel better.
Well, this has been a roller coaster of a race here. Holy cow. Is that you ahead of Christian Perez now? I do believe it is. So Christian has taken over the lead. He's got 1.8 seconds on Carl Dronke. We seem to have spread the field out quite a bit through pit stops, penalties, crashes, you name it. This has been one unpredictable race, although if there's one thing that we could probably anticipate, it's that Christian is leading the race. Let's check in here. We do have some running on empty crewmates. So here's Chris Herrera rocking his awesome new paint scheme. Currently sitting P5, setting a best time of the night of 1:53.75. He's trying to hunt down Jason Bice for that 4th position. They have a solid lead on Edwin Viorino at the moment, but let's be honest, Edwin is quick. So we'll see how long that lasts. There's Edwin. He's got company in the form of Joshua Dancy, Nikolai Wood, and Justin Kay. As Jack Moffitt also in the fray there, gets left again. He is...
Christian, pass me on the next straight. Fast left.
Looks like Ian's going to try to get some draft off of Christian there. Well done. Oh no! Oh no! Oh, and the 48er Rich Buller. And who was that? The 3 of Carl Dronke touch. Oh no! That's going to put him way back. Let's ride on board with Carl and see what happened here. It looks like Rich was trying to avoid... Oh no. So Carl's going to go to the pits. That's going to put Christian in a really good position here, who's opened up over 5 seconds on Don Parks. And another 4 seconds back to Jason Bice, who's P3, sitting on the podium with Carl currently sitting in the pits awaiting repair.
Oh, man. Whoa! My screen's just blanked out completely.
It's very difficult to race that way in. I don't know if you know.
Oh, I don't know what's happened. Yeah, I just blanked out, and the next when it came back, I was in a wall. I was just trying to drive round to the pits, but that's not going to happen. And now I'm in the pit. I have no long idea how long it's going to take to fix, so probably longer than the race is going to be.
Well, that is an unfortunate potential end to the night for you,
Yeah,
Mortal,
but
as
then
he's
I can
also
come
in the
and
pits
jump in
with
the...
Rich Butler.
Yeah, I can come and jump
That is
into
true.
the...
We do have a few...
video.
While you do that, we'll do a quick run to the field here. In the lead, Christian Perez, as we mentioned, who just continues to open up a lead on Don Parks, as Jason Bice tries to track him down. And Chris Herrera in the pits. Chris Herrera back in the pits.
Christian
I don't
Perez
know
is
what
just going
happened
over
there.
the start finish line. Chris Herrera's in the pits.
He is. I don't know why. I don't know.
Wait a
We'll have to
minute.
ask him about that. At any rate, Edwin Viorino now in P4.
It's
And
saying
Nikolai
that...
Wood has seen his way up. No, go ahead.
No. Just looking at Douglas Colligan and Oliver Hartley having a little bit of a battle. Douglas is trying to catch him on the final straight coming into the chicane. Let's see, Barry Stockdale.
Got Joshua Dancy there in P6. Justin K about 6.5 seconds back. A little more than that, I suppose.
Don
the seventh
Parks is in
spot.
P2.
Don Parks is in P2.
Goodness me, that's
He's
toss up for
rocking
the...
it. He's got
Yeah, he's doing very well.
6.
As he goes down towards the hairpin, chasing the leader. Let's see. I've got 9 minutes of repairs.
9 minutes.
Yes, I think that's kind of my race done. Which is good.
Yeah,
I can now help out in the booth.
We've got some comments there. Chris's car looked kind of messed up, and I would concur with that. It kind of looked like he was driving sideways. I don't know. I can't see anything in my incident log there that would indicate anything happened, though, so I guess we'll just have to wait and see. Another good... I mean, Joshua... he's trying to drive it that way. Yeah, exactly. Joshua Dancy up in P6. Justin K, P7. That's fantastic to see. Good job in the 10 car there. I think we talked about Jeff Torbeck in the... currently holding down P8 for us. Scott Dorkins, P9. Scott feeling himself today. Regained that B-class license in iRacing, and now he's gunning for a top 10. Pete Morbron has worked... Speaking of top 10... Pete Morbron has worked his way back up to P10.
And Jason in
incredible.
P3 can now see Don ahead of him. So Don is coming up on a back marker who's not moving.
There's a question there for what happened to Tronky. There was a incident, and back marker was trying to avoid the incident. Touched wheels with Carl, sent him into the wall. So that was pretty much, for all intents and purposes, the end of Carl's night, unfortunately.
And Nikolai can see Edwin ahead of him. It's going to get interesting. It's going to get very interesting as Don just passes Samuel Bridges. Samuel's in 22nd. Don's in second. And Jason is chasing up behind the two of them. And it was quite a technical pass because he waited until he was on the back straight, got a good draft to give him a bit more space between himself and Jason. And through Wall of Champions they go. Jason working to climb ever closer. see.
Got some other good turnouts here. Outside of the top 10, we got Sean Trediak in 11th, Adam Wright in 12th, Oliver Hartley in 13th, Douglas Colligan in 14th, and Mike Bowers, typically one of the top runners there, in 15th. Chris Herrera pulling up 16th place after that unscheduled pit stop. We're going to call it unscheduled because I have no idea what the heck was happening. Oh, Steve Dewar in 17th, Jerry Gruber in 18th, and then we get to... Yeah, these are all folks that are a lap down. Walter Collada, Barrick Stockdale, Samuel Bridges, Jack Moffitt, Carl Drunke, Ian Worrell, Rich Butler, Thomas Fotos, Darren Chernick, Jonathan Dockery, who's joined us in the chat, Alex Matty, and Robert Longatano, who I don't know that they actually even started.
Sorry to jump in there. Scott Dawkins just passed Jeff Torbeck for 8th. So Scott is now up to 8th position. And now gunning for, I guess, 7th.
I think Scott was able to pay Christian enough money to get the same fuel that he was using, because Scott is on a roll tonight. That is incredible.
He is driving the wheels off that car. Yes, he's now coming up to, as they come up to what they call the fast kink, the little left right before the hairpin bend. And there goes Scott through the fast kink. And he can just see Justin Kay in the front of him as Justin comes down to the hairpin bend, down into first gear, the slowest corner on the track, slides it round, gets on the gas, trying to escape the clutches of Scott, who's also now going round. However, he's got Jeff Torbeck right on him, and Jeff is going to draft Scott up the back straight. So let's see. There might be some excitement going into the final chicane and the Wall of Champions here.
And don't look now, but Pete Mobron has made his way to the back of Jeff Torbeck as well.
Yeah, and as Jeff drafts up behind Scott, he's a little close to the braking zone, so he's backing off just a touch. But Pete is like driving in there. He's going to go after them and see where he gets. As Scott gets even closer, he's taking the inside line, which is the long way around the first corner, but the inside of the second, which is a second degree, very slow corner. So let's see what happens here. This is getting a little interesting in this battle as Scott gets in as Jeff gets in front of Scott. And Pete is taking both of them. Pete has got a great run off of the center S's. Something happened to Scott. He dropped back there. Don't know what quite happened to him. But Pete is now up behind I'm getting all my names wrong now, Jeff Torbeck, and pushing him really hard as they come into turn, I can't remember what the numbers are actually, sorry. And Scott, and Jeff cooks it a little bit on that one. And Pete has got a great push off of that corner and is going to take him coming down to the quick kink.
So we'll check in right here. Actually, Christian Perez, by the way, we have passed the 40-minute mark, and Christian Perez is now coming around the final turns. He's got one more chicane left before he takes the checkered flag.
So this is the last lap. So Pete has just got himself up into, I think would be 7th. Scott Dawkins is in 9th, and Jeff Torbeck's in 8th. Although Jeff is very close as Scott cooks it a little bit into the hairpin and loses a bit of time on the back of them.
Well, you see Christian come across the line there, doing his celebratory dance as Don Parks. Jason Bice takes a podium. Congratulations to those guys. Edwin Viorino.
Good job,
Nikolai Wood. Oh man, what a finish there! There's Nikolai Wood.
Well, Jeff Torbeck is technically. He's not going to get him, is he? No, he's not. As they come through and pass the Wall of Champions.
There's Justin Kay with a P7. Looks like Pete Mobron is going to take E8 with Torbeck, E9, and Scott Dawkins in the round out your final 10 there. Sean Trediak just out of reach of that top 10 finish. Adam Wright's next, also celebrating.
We're going to get sideways over the line as he loses most of his car and leaves it on the track.
And Oliver Hartley's Google car.
Followed by Mike Bowers.
Here comes Douglas Colligan and P15 and Chris Herrera, the poor guy.
Oh, oh,
Oh,
oh! What a pretty car he had today,
that
Chris
was a
Ferrera's
great
car.
paint scheme. Great paint scheme.
Barry
I don't know.
Stockdale picking up position 20.
Steve Dewar. Oh, yeah, Stockdale. He's a lap down. He'll be
20th, I think.
interesting. I'm showing well, we there 19th, 20th. Steve Dewar will also be coming across. It looks like he'll be the last across the line. Although since he's on the lead lap, he'll be finishing technically ahead of Barry Stockdale in the 17th position.
There's a bit of shenanigans going over here with the cars. I see some three-wheeled vehicles. Oh, what a brilliant season we've had.
That was fun. And I guess the presumptive champion here, Christian Perez, trying to do donuts with less than all his wheels as Edwin gives him a virtual high five there.
Oh, yeah, it's been a
What are you
great
gonna do?
season. It really has. Well, let's see if we can.
So
I think is everybody finished now?
I think so. I guess that's one way to find out here.
Yeah. Christian Perez, Don Parks, Jason Bice, Edwin Valerino, Nikolai Wood came in fifth, which is a good finish for him. Joshua Dancy, Justin Key, Pete Mabrotten, Jeff Torback, Scott Dawkins, Sean Cheriak, how do you say his name? Tretiak?
Tretiak. You got
Adam
it.
Wright, Oliver Hartley, Mike Bowers, Douglas Colligan, Chris Herrera, finishing a very strange 16th, which is very unusual for him. Steve Dewar, Walter Kalata, Barry Stockdale. I wonder if it's a Barry Stockdale I know. Anyway, Jerry Gruber, Samuel Bridges, Jack Moffat, Carl Dronke coming in 23rd. Again, very, very strange. Rich Butler, myself, Thomas Photos. Now, Thomas was doing very, very well, but he ended up 8 laps down in 26. Darian Chernak, 27th, and then Jonathan, Alex, and Robert in 28th, 29th, and 30th. But that does not talk about the actual season, does it?
That is not. No. Well, let's bring in first and foremost our I will continue to use the word presumptive season champion because it seems the points are stacked his way, but we don't know for sure. But Christian Perez, what a race! What a crazy race! First of all,
Yeah.
but we're calling you our presumptive champion. So we're gonna say until we can't celebrate for sure until the points play out and the math is done. But congratulations on a fantastic season, no matter what. I'm gonna say congratulations on the championship. Congratulations on the race. What did you see out there? That was crazy. I couldn't keep up with anything.
What a crazy race. Since the beginning, I break the draft with Edwin, and I was very happy. But then I got a slow down and I said, okay, this is gonna be fun. And yes, fun is the word that describes this race. Seriously.
Well, I'm glad you saw it that way. It was a little confusing to know when the slowdowns were coming. I had to imagine you didn't just pull over and let them by. I figured it was a slowdown penalty. I know you like a challenge, but not that much of a challenge.
No.
Do you know? No, Viva Edwin. He's commenting on the stream. Viva Edwin, of course. I don't know what happened to Edwin though. He seemed to take an extra pit stop
I
or.
Very furious with Edwin. We were pitting, and on the exit, he didn't respect the line. I don't know why. But he
you gotta respect the line.
into the corner, and I said, "Edwin, what are you doing, Edwin?" I get very furious because I want to get fun and Edwin, and yes, black flag. I don't know what's going on with his head. But yes, he do the corner like normal, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what's happened
Oh
with
man,
Edwin lately. I don't know.
he's got to keep his head in the game. I don't know
Yes, yes,
either.
yes, yes,
It's
yes, yes.
sad. It's
My God. I saw that, I don't know what to say about that.
You're
Well,
just like, well, I guess I got to go win the thing now, huh?
Yeah, but not like that.
Well, hey, thanks again for just putting on some great shows for the broadcast this season, and you're just such a great driver. Do you have any thoughts on the season as a whole? Is there anything you're looking forward to next season in particular?
Well, congratulations for doing this great championship, first of all. And well, then I know that it will be a team championship.
Hmm.
So well, I have to learn to teach some things on Edwin like this because nobody is on my team. This will not
Little
happen
extra
again.
training.
Yes, yes, I think that he needs a lot of training right now.
right. So are you looking forward to next season?
Yes, 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 of course.
Good, good, good.
It will be nice to. I never did a team championship on Skippy, so I think that with Edwin will be fun. I'm sure that we will be fight instead, just for
Good,
fun.
good, good, good. Now I've got
Well,
a question.
if you're
Go on. Sorry, go ahead.
oh, real quick, I was just gonna say, if Edwin doesn't work out, just know I would be on your team any day.
Okay, okay, agree.
He says
He says that
begrudgingly. Oh, okay, okay, thanks for that.
yeah.
All right, sorry,
Thanks.
go ahead, Ian.
I'll call you. You don't call me, right?
Right.
So speaking of teams and such, Christian, are you going to join us in week 13?
Yes. That event is looking really good, and the team structure that I really looking forward to know who will be my team, my team,
Hmm.
and
Co-driver. Your
yes,
co-driver.
ahí está, your co-driver. Okay, so yes, I choose the Skippy because I don't know if I will buy the new cars.
Okay.
So well, it will be very fun. I hope.
So
So
you're ready for a 3-hour race.
yes, and four.
Good stuff, mate. Good stuff. Good stuff.
Yes.
So, what did you know? You were talking about the beginning of the race. What about the middle? Because I mean, usually with these races, everything gets very exciting at the beginning, and then it
Yes.
calms down a bit towards the middle. It gets a bit exciting around the pit stop, and then it calms down again, and then gets exciting towards the end. Did your race kind of pan out that way, or did you feel it a bit different this time?
Uh, yes, it was different than the officials because my strategy was that Carl went on the first, and he went the maximum gap possible because I didn't need to win this race. So I was fighting with Edwin in every turn. So it was very fun because fighting with Edwin is always very fun. He is a excellent driver to fight with. So it was very. I mean, the whole race was incredible. Just the perfect ending of a great championship. Yes, it was perfect.
Well,
Good stuff.
Christian, thanks again. Yeah, we'll let you get on with your evening. And is there anything else you wanted to tell your adoring fans? It looks like you've got quite a few on the stream here.
Yes. Well, Darwin, Darwin. No.
Yeah. Or at least one, yeah. I
No.
don't know. Okay, fair enough. Well, thank you so much again, and we are so looking forward to racing with you and watching you. So, have a great. Looking forward to week 13. We'll have a nice. I can't. I got to turn the comments off here. I don't know what's happening. We're looking forward to week 13 and having some fun and blowing off some steam for a little bit. But congratulations again, and thank you just for being such a great part of the Sunday Night Skippy community. And yeah, we appreciate you.
Okay, thank you to you guys. Ciao.
Ciao. All right, let's. We've got some other folks lined up here. Let's see if we can't bring in Justin K. Justin, this is Chris. You got a good copy?
Yes, I do. How are you?
Yes. Oh, hey, good. Yeah, sorry about that. Look, man, P7. Wow, up 11 spots total. Tell us about your night.
Yeah, it was a pretty good race in the end. I did have one incident where I got hit from behind by Jeff. This accident, it happens in the heartbreaking section. But the first stint went really, really well. I was just telling the guys in the other room. My second stint, I didn't drive very well, but everybody else kept making mistakes or had to get out of the race. So yeah, I ended up moving up, but it was still fun. I actually liked this track a lot, but the car was changing throughout the stints a lot because I think the temperature dropped. And the tires take a long time to heat up. So it was a fun race, but that's racing. That's just the way it is. But it was a fun race.
Glad
Well,
you
what did you
enjoyed it.
think?
Sorry, go ahead, Chris.
No, I'll you, Ian.
No, I was going to say you're glad you enjoyed it, but you're fairly new to our league. I mean, how are you finding it?
I actually liked it a lot. I didn't search too hard before, but I was like, man, I'm surprised there's not like a big Skippy league somewhere that I could join. And finally, I just looked and someone said, yeah, this is a good one. And I think my first race was Spa, where I should have had P6, but I ran out of fuel. But no, I love this league. It's great. It's a good time. Sunday evening, I'm a single guy, so it doesn't really bother me. And it's a good competition. There's, you got the really fast guys that are blazing quick, and then you've got the mid-pack runners. And there's a lot of good guys around my skill level, and it's good competition.
Brilliant. So I'm asking everybody this. Are you going to be joining our week 13 race?
I saw the email I will definitely do that. It sounds very interesting and exciting. I've always wondered what these cars would be like in an enduro, so I absolutely will be here for the enduro race. The following weeks, the first few weeks of the next season, I may be going to visit my family out in Arizona, but I will be here for the endurance race.
Brilliant. Don't forget to fill out the Survey Monkey.
I will definitely get to that. I'm excited for it.
Brilliant.
So I was thinking about, being relatively new, you just joined in Spa, but had some, this alone, great finishes here. What do you have any goals going into season 3 for yourself?
Yeah, so I'm glad I finished around the top 5. Top 5 is tough with these guys. I would need some attrition to be able to get into the top 5. But consistent top 10s, and it's really hard, but you got to try to stay out of trouble in these e-races. And as you can see from the people, even the professionals, when they're showing these e-races online, it's hard to stay out of trouble. So first and foremost, you got to stay out of trouble and just finish the race, trying to avoid as many incidents as possible, and then see what happens. And if I can do that, and I can finish inside the top 10 consistently, between 5 and 8th place, I'd be happy with that.
Good stuff, mate. Good stuff.
Well, hey, thanks for joining the league, and I hope that you're enjoying it, like you say, and we look forward to seeing you again next season. I think that having you is definitely strengthening the field, just looking at the stats here. So thanks for joining us, and we look forward to not only week 13, but watching you develop next season.
Thank you. Yeah, no, this is a great league. I'm excited. I'm especially excited for this endurance race, but yeah, let's do it. Thanks, guys. I appreciate it.
Awesome. Have a good night.
Good stuff.
You too.
All right, let's bring in the second place car of Don Parks on the 54 car. Don, you got a good copy?
I'm here.
Hey, man. So, P2, podium spot. Well done. What a ride to get there, though. Talk to us about your race.
I saw carnage. I saw a lot of death. A lot of death. I
Sure.
caused a little bit of death. Unfortunately, Chris and I came together there early, and I think it was a little bit of net code, a little bit of me being a little bit too hot into the corner. But yeah, I saw a lot of people dying in front of me. I knew I wasn't going to catch Christian. I thought I had underfueled, so I started fuel saving in the second stint, and then got my numbers sorted out and realized I was going to be okay. And from there on out, it was just try not to lose it in the Wall of Champions.
Well, that's always a good place to stay away from. Did you manage to make a mark on the Wall of Champions today?
I didn't make a mark on the Wall of Champions. I got a 1X today. I was a little disappointed in that. But no, I kept it clean and fortunately avoided the chaos.
Yeah. Well, there was a lot of attrition, and I mean, when the track was at its hottest, it was not exactly what you would call sticky.
No, it was. You definitely had to respect it, and we were all on the same track, so it's not as if anybody had an advantage. So it was just about keeping it clean, and don't press the issue if it's not there. So
Very, very wise words, actually. And I mean, a lot of people don't listen to that. They always think that they see a little slither of light between the person in the corner, and they'll put their car in there, and it's usually tears for all involved. And I think that one of the nice things about this league is people tend not to do that.
generally speaking, no, you're right, and yeah, a ton of respect out there, and that's what makes the league what it is. But at this point in the season, too, 12 weeks in, you kind of know who you can race around. And if Christian's ahead of me, Christian's going to stay ahead of me. I'm not going to give him a go. You kind of know where you can find your race within a race, and the guys that if you make a move on them, maybe it'll stick. But there's guys like Carl and Edwin and Pete and Christian that you may make a move early in the race on them, but it ain't going to stick. They're gonna get the pace back over the long run.
Yeah, for sure. So,
Don, I was gonna ask. You came into the standings according to Sean's spreadsheet, and virtually in position 8 for the season. You have been a consistent, not only participant but finisher. You looking back at the season as a whole, we'll see how the points kind of stack out. I'm sure you'll jump a few spots there. But looking back on the season as a whole, do you have any thoughts on that, regrets or things that you thought went really well, things that you hope to take forward with you to the next season?
This was my first top 5. I would have liked to have had a few more of those. I was not particularly consistent. I had a couple of weeks where either I got caught up in something or underfueled or sped in the pits. Really looking to eliminate that. You can't have those unforced errors. That's inexcusable. So it was really all about running clean, and I was glad I did that this week. But it took me 12 weeks to finally do that. There's a few weeks I'd like to have back. I want a couple of do-overs.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, the mulligan. I mean, I guess we got the 2 drop. Maybe we should do 2 drops and 2 mulligans. I don't know. We'll see. I'll bring it up on the next. Well, hey, thanks Don for joining us. Season coming to an end. Any shout outs or parting shots you want to send out there?
No, thanks to the league admins for doing a great job. It's a thankless job. It's a difficult thing to do. I've seen a number of league admins they implode by the end of the season. Looks like these guys have a lot of enthusiasm. Ian, thanks, and thanks to the rest of the guys, and Chris, thanks to you and the broadcast team. We missed JD this week, unfortunately. my de facto teammate. And I guess we're going to make that official next week. He unfortunately was
Oh, that's a big step.
out of
Yeah.
yeah.
He's
He's out of town this week, and he missed all the fun. So yeah, no, thanks to everybody involved in putting the league together. It was a great season.
Good stuff. Glad you enjoyed it. And
Awesome.
any comments on things that you're trying to sort out apart from your pending new team for season 3?
No, I guess the big question I think coming into season 3 for a lot of us is going to come down to the 2 new cars that are being released on the service and how much interest those cars generate and whether it takes away from the Skippy community in general. I'm definitely going to give those cars a go, but keep driving the Skip when I can.
Good stuff, mate. Good stuff. Finally, my final question I'm trying to pose to everybody is the week 13 race. Are you planning on joining us for that?
We'll have to see. Right now, probably 50-50 on that one. It's a very interesting concept. I'm intrigued. I'm a big endurance fan. I'll be preparing for the Le Mans 24 in the LMP1 car, but hopefully I'll find a little time. What track is this thing at? Do we know?
Donington Park.
Donington. Okay. It's been a while since I've been out there, but I know that track pretty well, so it probably wouldn't take me too long to come up to some level of mediocrity. So, yeah, give me a couple of days to look at my calendar and see what we can do.
Brilliant. Okay, well, hope to see you on it.
You bet. Thanks, guys.
Have a good night, Don.
Cheers.
All right. Well, we've kept the fan club running on empty, waiting long enough. So let's bring in Chris Herrera in the 687 car, who had a little bit of an unfortunate night tonight, P16. I'm curious to know, Chris, you got a good copy with us?
Hey, yes, and you watch your mouth.
I dragged you into the group a little too early there, didn't I? You think I'd know by now?
Yeah.
What happened? Oh.
Well, okay, as always, I'm going to preface this by saying I didn't know this track until maybe 3 hours before a race, and I really enjoyed it. So I was doing pretty well. I was happy with the first half or so. And then I think you talked with Don just now, who got second place. He had a great race. We just had a very unfortunate incident. It looked like it was some netcode, and he, the servers think that he got into the back of me at the hairpin. Turns out I think it was just some netcode, but that took me out for a little bit. And then later on in the race, I was catching up to Jason Bice, and it was looking like we were going to have some last-minute heroics. I was getting pretty pumped for that, and then we were passing lap traffic. I don't remember exactly who, and I got a little aggressive coming out of one of the turns. Didn't anticipate the differences in our speed. The last minute, I tried to swerve out of the way. Unfortunately, clipped him, took him out, and then went into the wall, messed up my wheels, and then I had to pit for a second, maybe third time. I don't remember. So overall, not the best day.
Well,
at least it wasn't the fuel.
Exactly.
Yes, I think I took extra fuel today. I could have got another 10 minutes.
Got the monkey off your back there, yeah.
They do say that into every exciting race series, a little bit of rain must.
Yeah, Ian, I saw you, I think, in the first 10 minutes or so, unfortunately, without a wheel. And I thought to myself, dang.
Oh, well, these things happen.
Yeah, that may have happened once or twice, I think. If I'm not mistaken.
The first time it happened, it was just a racing incident. But the second time it happened, I run on VR, and the VR just shut down, and I.
Oh man, yeah, bad timing. Well, I'm going to go ahead and speak on behalf of Running on Empty. I know everyone there appreciates not only your track guides, but also your commentary and your flair for conversation when you do have a crash.
Well, I tell them thanks very much, and we in the broadcast booth really do enjoy having folks come on a regular basis and watch, because I don't know about Chris, but it gives me such a sense of of accomplishment, and that this has some sort of value to folks. because it's entertainment, right? And that's what we're doing, is we're trying to provide some level of entertainment on a Sunday evening.
Oh, absolutely. I've shown these YouTube videos to quite a few of my friends, and half of them end up saying, "Wow, I watched more of that than I thought," and then the other half are now, I guess, my groupies and running on empty.
Well, that is absolutely awesome.
Yeah, again, thanks to you guys. This is really fun. I appreciate it, and I know a bunch of other people do as well.
Good. So before you disappear and go and get a well-earned adult beverage or two, we want to talk a little bit of week 13. Are you planning on running in it?
Yeah, I hadn't really considered it, and then I was just talking with Jason in the interview standby channel, and he convinced me just with the excitement in his voice. So I'm looking forward to it.
Good stuff. Don't forget to fill in the Survey Monkey.
Yep, I'm going to do that as soon as you kick me out of here.
And for season 3, anything that you're looking at particularly doing? Is there anything that you want to fix that you think's wrong with how you drive, or anything? Or I mean, is there any plans for season 3?
I think the obvious is to focus more on my fuel, and then other than that, really just try to be more consistent. So I know a lot of these tracks I had the pace to be top 5, top 3,
Right.
and some other ones maybe not. But if I can just be more consistent, then my goal is top 3 overall for season 3. So we'll see what happens.
Brilliant. Well, I wish you
Yeah.
the best of luck, that you would get your speed up to just behind me.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I was gonna say you came in virtually, according to Sean Trediak's numbers here, 6 overall in the standings, and Jonathan
Hey, how
Dance and
about
James
that?
Hauser were both not here tonight, who are ahead of you. So there's a little bit of a chance here that you may end up 5 or 4th overall. So you're not that far off your goal anyway.
Wow.
So congratulations on a fantastic season. Thanks to you and Team Running on Empty and everybody, you guys have made this a lot of fun. So have a great night,
Absolutely.
and we will hopefully see you next week.
Yeah, thank you. And real quick, just a shout out to Frank and Danny and Jason and Jenny, the primary members of Running on Empty.
Brilliant.
There you go. Founding members.
Take
All right. Have a good night, Chris.
You guys,
Yeah.
you too. Take care.
So we've got Nikolai, Sean, and Jason sitting in standby. Who shall we torture next?
I feel like we've been making Nikolai wait just a little longer than most people, and we can. Once again, I don't mind so much with Jason's time, so we'll bring in Nikolai. We'll bring in Nikolai because I feel bad. He great P5 on the evening, and that I mean came in late to the season, but has been a strong, consistent performer since. Clean racer is something I don't know, Nikolai, if you probably haven't even begun to watch the stream yet, but something we brought up with Sean Trediak's data that he pulled. So, Nikolai, talk to us about how the race went for you.
Yeah, so I had a great qualifying, personal best, got lucky with the draft, and pretty strong start, but I got on an unfortunate rear-ended scenario with Chris Herrera, and ended up taking out Walter Collada, who had a series of unfortunate events. And anyways, had some slight damage, came in for an early pit stop based on enough fuel, and just had a smooth, steady race. A little bit of fighting with Joshua Dancy, but mostly uneventful, just slowly chasing people. It's a really good result for a track that I consider my home track. I've been here quite a bit and know it quite well, so very pleased with that for sure.
Brilliant. Well, good luck on that one. That was a fine drive that you did there, and it sounded like you had a pretty smooth race.
Mm-hmm. Other than the incident at the start of the race, it was
We
one for
can't
sure.
ignore those ones.
I think that makes it all the more impressive, though, that you got into that early race incident and were able to kind of work your way back up through. It shows a lot of that, what I was talking about. It's a buzzword, I guess, at this point, but consistency that you've shown, and it kind of paid off in spades for you today to earn that top 5 finish. So. Is there, looking back, like I said, I forget exactly which race you joined us in. I feel like it was mid-ish season. Anything looking back that you hope to take with you going into season 3?
Yeah, I mean that first race that was at the Nürburgring. I know I lost it right at the end of Jason Bice. We fought for the whole 3 laps
That's right.
on that
Yeah.
epic, and right at the end he gave it a little lift early on the long back straight and caught the draft and beat me. And that's something that's really stuck with me. I think it paid dividends in Spa and other tracks where maybe the draft isn't as strong, but that's probably the biggest lesson I've learned, and that was right off the bat. But there's been a lot of tight racing and seeing these guys qualified 2 seconds ahead of me, 2 seconds faster. It's that there's a lot of learning to do.
So as a person who, as you say, you joined the league halfway through, you've obviously enjoyed what we do as a league. But for someone who was a C-class racer, a racer with a C-class license who hadn't joined a league yet, what would you sort of say to them to say, hey, come and join this particular league?
Yeah, I mean, there's actually a guy who I sold a set of pedals to, trying to sort of refer him to it. It's just a really friendly league where there's challenging competition from the fastest drivers in the world to entry-level D-class license holders. There's fun for everybody, and there's a lot of learning to be had. If you want to improve, I think it's a really good way to do it, and it brings some meaning to the end of race week. It's a good sort of culmination of it at the end of every week.
Brilliant. So I've asked this question to everybody, and I'm sure anybody listening is probably getting bored, but are you planning on running in our week 13 race?
I was just talking to Jason Bice about that. I think I probably will. I've never done endurance racing before, and it's something that I'm quite interested in, even though I'm an open wheeler type of guy. I'm currently working on my schedule, but I believe I'm going to, yes.
Brilliant. Good stuff. Well, don't forget to fill out the Survey Monkey and let us know where you sit.
Yep, absolutely.
All right. And any shout outs to anybody before you go?
I got a couple friends who are watching, and it's nice to have a little bit of support in this little niche hobby of mine. Yeah, and shout out to the league, really. Everybody's been really welcoming. I've learned a lot and had a great time. So, yeah, thanks, guys.
Brilliant. Glad you're enjoying it.
Awesome. Have a good night, Nikolai.
Yeah, good night, guys.
Shout out to Nikolai's friends who are watching too. Sorry, I didn't realize you guys were out there. Probably would have dragged him in early. I apologize for that, but thanks for watching, and hopefully we're able to bring you a little bit of joy, a little bit of distraction from the craziness going on, and get to see Nikolai and what he likes to do. So we'll bring in now. Let's see. Let's bring in Sean Trediak, who was able to spent the previous week, not the whole week, obviously, but was crunching numbers for us, gave us some of that good data. Ended up with a P11, just outside the top 10. We saw him battling with Scott Dorkins there at the end. Nonetheless, a great, solid finish. And Sean, how did you see the evening going? Oh, Sean, you there?
Looks like Sean's gone for a bit of a break.
Looks like he is using the facility, so let's bring in Jason Bice. All right. Wow. What a race for Jason Bice. He ends up on the podium, which, if I'm probably mistaken, but could have been his best finish of the season, up 3 spots from his qualifying position. Jason, what did you see out there? That's a fantastic finish. Congratulations on that for the last race of the season.
Yeah, that felt great. It's one of my better tracks. Certainly there was a good chunk of attrition that helped me. So yeah, it was great. Certainly ashamed to see all of that. Certainly not the way you want to get to the podium, but I'll take it tonight.
Well, it's an even playing field out there. Period. Dot. So, don't take anything away from yourself on that one. And you held your own out there. I saw with what we traditionally call the faster guys like Edwin and Christian for quite a while. And we're leading the race there for a little bit. It must have been nice to have that clean air out there. Not something you're used to, I'm sure.
Yeah, it's actually kind of a relief. You've got to be so nose to gearbox in that front pack, or you really risk losing contact, and that's a bit of a stress. So getting out in front has its own stresses, but they're not nearly as severe. So yeah, having that clean air, and with those guys, you can trust that you're not going to find somebody in your trunk when you hit the brakes for a turn. So yeah, that was nice. I'm pretty sure I was allowed to lead those laps because somebody was conserving fuel. But once again, I will take it. I'm totally open to taking charity. So
Oh, that's awesome. So, for the viewers, we mentioned your name a lot. Obviously, you're definitely one of the more I don't say vocal, but involved admins for sure. And a lot of people here have been singing your praises. Not to make you blush there. However, it was a great season 2 for Sunday Night Skippy, and it's good. I know we've got Ian here, but to have another league administrator's opinion on how the season went and what you're looking forward to going into season 3 as the league continues to grow, I just kind of wanted to get your insight on that.
yeah, like you said, we've got we have three league admins, and everybody has I wouldn't say their own duties or their own roles, but everybody's just kind of naturally shifted into doing something that that suits their interests and their talents well, and that's really come together well as far as a complete package as far as managing the league. James is really great with the drivers meetings, and helping keep things clean, and running those. Ian's race introductions, the trips around the track, it's always entertaining. I told him that he completely missed his calling. So I always look forward to that. That's a highlight in the broadcast, is watching those. But yeah, I mean, season 2, it almost feels like a well-oiled season 10, and a lot of that has to do with the membership. There are so many people in Discord and in practice sessions, on any given night, in any given session. If you walk into one, chances are you're going to run into somebody from Sunday Night Skippy, and they're going to welcome you with open arms, and you're always going to get good racing out of them. They're going to share tips with you. It's incredible. So
Brilliant.
Yeah, and it looks like James is in there. We may actually get a chance to interview him, and I don't want to embarrass him too much. We talk, obviously, Ian and yourself on the broadcast more. James not so much on the broadcast, but I don't want to downplay the impact that he has on the league and the help that he's provided in the tutorials that he makes and all that. So I know it's not very outward facing from a viewer on the stream perspective, but yeah, just give a shout out to James for everything he does for the league as well.
For sure, there's so much that goes on behind the scenes, and like you said, those tutorials. There were handfuls of people this week that would jump into Discord and say, "Hey, I watched James' tutorial, and I just shaved 2.5 seconds off my lap." I mean, that was happening all week long. So for anybody watching who's in the league and you're not looking at James' tutorials, you're missing out. You're leaving a lot of time on the track by not watching those.
That is very true. Very, very true.
Yeah.
Well, Jason, I would call this season 2 a huge success, and it was great to see you finish on the podium on the last race of the season. Well earned. Is there anything else as we go out on the broadcast for tonight that you want to say?
Of course, thanks to you and everything you've done for the broadcast.
I was waiting for somebody to say that. I was fishing for that.
It's such a huge
Is there
highlight.
anything else you want to say? No, I'm joking.
I know that one of the first things everybody does when we're done racing is they fire up YouTube or Twitch and they rewatch the whole thing with their friends and their family, and they send out those links for anybody who maybe didn't catch it live. I mean, that's such a huge bow on the package at the end of the night. The league would not be the same without it. So I know that I speak for every single person when I say that we greatly, greatly appreciate the time that goes into it. I know that there have been times where you spent the bulk of your Sunday getting ready for the broadcast. It's something that everybody notices and that everybody appreciates. So thank you for that.
And before,
Awesome. Well,
I know. I don't want to let Chris's head swell too big because his headphones will break.
I'm not gonna make it out of the through the door here.
Before you go, we've got some changes coming up for season 3. So do you want to sort of give a quick rundown on what those are?
Yeah, if Chris has time. You good with that, Chris?
Yeah. No,
Okay,
absolutely.
awesome.
Let's go for it.
Yeah, so I'm going to pull up the announcement here so I don't forget anything. Yeah, we at the end of every season we send out a survey. We try to hit some hot buttons that maybe we hear people talking about throughout the season. So there's a method to the madness as far as what those survey questions are. The first one was whether or not we should move the event up a little bit, and there are definitely some people that would like to move it up, but it was pretty much a tie between moving it up and keeping it at 8 o'clock. So as far as that goes, we're just going to keep the status quo. We'll keep it at 8 o'clock. I'd say the most significant changes are the introduction of a team championship. So you can team up with one other person and vie for team points, which will be tracked separately. So really excited about that. We've had a couple of people this season that are basically running as teams already, and it's been neat to see how that works. And I think that that's something that the broader membership would enjoy. And we've already got people making connections in Discord, grabbing team members. So definitely encourage anybody who's here week in and week out to do that. And that last part's important. You know, you probably don't want to team up if you're only going to make half the races, but if you intend to be here the majority of the season, I think that you would get a new benefit from being in the league by joining up with a team. The other one is a race requirement, a public race requirement as part of the entrance requirement to the event on Sunday. So we've had the EQT in the past, or the event qualifying time, and we'll keep that. But the new requirement is that you've got to meet that time in an actual public race session. And the thinking behind that is you really owe it to the other people on the track on Sunday who've spent their week preparing, that you don't just know the track and that you can't just drive a fast lap, but you can hold your own in a race atmosphere. And I'll admit, I mean, this is something that I've struggled with in the past. I mean, this has been a mental block for myself. So I spent the bulk of the season trying to do that myself before I put the question out there to everybody else. And it's definitely made a difference for me. So yeah, we put that out to the membership, and it had pretty strong support. I don't think it's going to be popular with everybody. But I think as far as the overall health of the league goes, I think it's a good idea.
Absolutely. And any comments you'd like to make on week 13 that we've been talking to everybody about? And apparently you have as well.
Yeah, I mean the work that Ian did to set up week 13 has been incredible. I think it's going to be a blast. Everybody who's waiting in the interview standby has been talking about it, so a lot of people are very excited about it. The combination of the new car coming out plus the program that Ian's put together, those two things combined have generated a ton of interest. So I think next Sunday is going to be a really, really good time. So
Cool.
Well, yeah, I know I'm looking forward to it for sure. Thanks again for everything, Jason, and great season. Looking forward to week 13 and beyond.
Absolutely. Thanks again, Chris, for everything that you do. Ian, thank you for everything that you do. And when James watches this back, James, thanks. So this is too much work for any one person to do. So it's really nice having everybody pitch in.
No worries, mate.
Awesome.
No worries. Well, look, have a good rest of your Sunday evening.
You too. Take care. I'm gonna go watch the race.
All right.
Awesome.
Bye.
Yeah. All right. Take care, guys.
Right. All right, let's try Sean Trediak one more time. Although, oops, I'm not gonna do the whole Sean Trediak intro again. I think he was hearing us last time. You got a good copy on us now, Sean?
Okay, I think I got you.
Hey, there we go. All right. Sean, so I mentioned earlier, I just said I wasn't going to do the whole intro again, but you did the data for us, which was hugely appreciated. Thank you for putting the work into that. I think it made for a great pre-race discussion there. P11 tonight, great finish. talk us through what you saw out there tonight.
Yeah, thanks so much. So as you know, I was just looking at my season and realizing that Oliver was the one person I had to beat. So even though I would have loved to grab a fight for a top 10, to be honest, I was just trying to keep Oliver behind me, and that's how it worked out for me.
That is awesome. That is awesome. I'm so glad that you
It's good
had
strategy.
It's good strategy and a good race going on there.
Yeah, thanks. I definitely had my cleanest race, maybe just relaxing and not having to, feeling like I had to fight for positions. Actually,
Sean, did we lose you?
I hope not. I can hear you great.
Okay, you got
There we
as
go.
far
Yep.
as saying that you were glad that you didn't have to fight, and then you went quiet. So, do you want to just go over that bit again?
Sure. So I was just saying that I was just focused on driving clean, not getting those crazy slowdowns like that track is known for, not hitting the wall of champions, and I think that helped my race quite a bit.
Brilliant.
Oh, nice.
I'm glad
Yeah,
to hear
yeah.
that.
That wall of champions was, this was a new track for me, and little did I know how much that wall of champions was going to play a factor in tonight's race. But it seemed to be that was a goal of many, was just to avoid that and have a good night. So
Absolutely. I mean, it was just one of those things that you have to keep doing, right?
I just kept counting the laps, saying one more lap, don't hit it.
I know exactly what you feel like right there, right? It's just like, okay, one more lap to go. Let me just no off tracks, no slowdowns, because the slowdowns here are quite vicious, aren't they?
Right, you can be like 1 foot off of where you're intending to go and where you go every lap, and then it says 4 seconds, and of course you didn't gain 4 seconds by being that little off.
right, yeah. The slowdowns, and that's a tough thing to call, but I guess it was pretty obvious because a lot of them were in the same spot. But yeah, it impacted a lot of people's races tonight. So having that I've said the word consistency, we should make it a drinking game at this point, but it is key, and you saw how it impacted some folks' races. The one thing I want to kind of point out, I mean, you were a consistent starter for the league coming into it. I know you had your goals going into this race. One question I've been asking folks going into season 3 of Sunday Night Skippy, what are your goals for season 3, and is there anything that you took from season 2 that you're going to apply to season 3?
Well, I'm definitely already starting to think about, I looked at the tracks, I looked at my schedule. The drop weeks are really important. So like I'm traveling 1 week, I'm already, trying to fit all this in and make sure that I can be competitive. It's really important to show up every week. I'm already thinking about upgrading my rig. I think we all know that's like a disease we pretty much all have.
Constantly,
yeah.
yep.
Tell me about it. My new wheel is supposed to come this coming weekend.
Yeah, I saw pictures of that thing. I'm not doing anything that crazy. I was just thinking about, hard mounting my pedals so they can't move away from me and that kind of thing.
Oh, yes, absolutely. I know exactly what you mean. All right, that sounds good, mate. It sounds good. It sounds like you're well sorted and you know what's going on. Is there anything in particular that you're excited about for next season?
Well, the team thing sounds really interesting, and of course, we're sorting out teams. I had someone hit me up earlier, so I don't want to announce that until it's solid. But I think I expect I'll be participating in that team trophy thing. I won't be going for first place, but I'll do my best.
All right. It looks like the wheels are already turning here. This is great. You heard it here first, folks. This is awesome. We're getting the inside scoop.
Exactly. My last question, of course, which I've asked everybody is our week 13 race. Are you planning on attending that one?
So my first instinct was, well, I'll take the time to fix up my rig, maybe do some things around the house. But then I started getting the itch, thinking, the enduro part of it just sounds so great to me. I've done one enduro live in real life, as they say. So I bet you'll see.
Brilliant. Well, if you do decide read the email that we sent out. Make sure you remember the cutoff dates and times, and do the Survey Monkey.
Will do. All right. Thanks so much. I'm super excited about season 3.
Brilliant. Have a great weekend, mate.
Thanks. Cheers.
Cheers. All right, Ian. Well, that looks like James left the. I think we took too long for him. He may be trying to get some sleep before he's got to instruct tomorrow. So, sorry we missed you, James. But Ian, again, we've said it once, we'll say it a million times. Fantastic season. Any last thoughts as we wrap up season 2 of Sunday Night Skippy?
No, mate. I think you are doing a great job. It was a fantastic idea of yours to pull this together. I've really enjoyed trying to walk and chew gum at the same time. It's going to be very interesting for me next season because I will be on my new wheel, which, as I said, is going to be here hopefully on, they say between Wednesday and Friday. So I'll be working on getting that set up and be using it for the first time in the endurance race. So I'm a little scared, to be honest. It's
a pretty good time to be using it for the first time, I suppose. But yeah, that's
yeah, a
that could be a couple hour mistake on your point. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, you can make life interesting. And my kids are very excited that I'm getting a new wheel, which is good, because when I get a new wheel, it means that they get my existing wheel and my pedal set. I've got one lad who wants to get into racing and told me today that he's going to get into the same league as me and beat me. So there we go.
Wow. That yes. I like
probably
that.
will do, but that's okay. He's 11 and I'm not, so But no, I mean, I'm really looking forward to season 3. I think that Jason and James are doing a tremendous job on managing the league. People would be surprised at how much work goes into making sure that this whole thing functions. They have put in a lot of time, especially with reviewing all of the footage from pretty much all of the cars for the entire race. So you think we've got a race of 45 people. We have to go through all the footage of all that 45, each of those 45 races to see what was going on, where the crashes were, who did what, make sure that we're fairly assigning penalty points where needed, to try and make sure that this whole thing is kept as clean as possible. Again, we all did this because, and it was pretty random, we kind of met randomly, I don't even know how, where we were moaning about how people kept crashing into you, and wouldn't it be nice to have somewhere you can go where that didn't happen, and that's where this all sprung from. And so this league only started in November of last year. So just a little over 6 months ago. My God, 6 months already? Coronavirus, here we go.
Yep.
But it's only just over 6 months old, and we're already going into season 3. Season
you said 6
2,
years, right? I think you meant 6 years.
It feels
right?
like it. I mean, it's phenomenal. I mean, it's so much fun. I really look forward to the racing on a Sunday. I'm slowly getting better, which I'm happy about. Although it's not really showing up in the points and the crashes, but still, there you go. Yeah, and I mean, season 3 should be a lot of fun. So if anybody's listening still to the end of this thing, I mean, there's hours of work, but if anybody's still listening, highly recommend you get into this. It's a lot of fun. It helps you with your driving, teaches you respect, and come and join us. It's so much fun.
Yeah, agreed. We do have 8 viewers left by my count, so that's down from 20 something. So there's a couple people hanging on for dear life. Our hardcore fans out there. So, well, you said it all very.
We really appreciate the folks that watch this and would love to hear from you guys. Let us know what you like, what you don't like, what we're doing bad, what we can do better. If you've got ideas of how we can do it better, I think that would be nice to hear. Yeah, I think that would be most appreciated.
Yeah, it's going to be harder to say it better than that, Ian. I appreciate all the drivers, the entire community of Sunday Night Skippy. Obviously, we keep talking about the admins, but it was just such a quality find at the right time. You know, to your point, Sunday Night Skippy kind of started up right as this whole coronavirus thing was ramping up, and I don't know how else to say it other than it was just this confluence of things that I think helped make this league so much fun and so great to be a part of. And I know that people keep thanking me for things, but it's really not. I mean, I stream this and talk about it, and sometimes we forget Riley and Megan and all that, and the support that they provide as well. But it's really a pleasure for me to be able to do this, and I think that just speaks to the quality of the people that are we get to hang out with in Discord, on a quasi daily basis, and then on Sunday evenings, and get to watch everybody race. So I just wanted to say congratulations to everybody, all the drivers who even were able to race 1, 2, 3 races with us this season. I hope that you're all able to join us again, and find your own ways to just continue to make the league what it is. And it could be something just as simple as driving. It's just we got such good drivers throughout the field. It doesn't require anything more than that. It's just so fun to watch. And if you're thinking about joining, if you're one of the 8 people left who isn't already a league member, I guarantee you join, you're going to have somebody who's going to be, at least one person who's going to be of relatively equal skill to you, and it'll be good racing throughout the pack.
Yeah,
so.
absolutely. And I think that the more that you do, the better you're going to get. It's like anything. Obviously, there's going to be there's always going to be the few that are going to be out of touch. They're just going to be up the front and forget it. But you'll become a better and a better and a better mid-pack racer and still get a huge amount of enjoyment out of it. And I think you take this and go into your public races, and you'll really find that you'll be at the front of those as well.
Yeah, it's a community that is about improving everybody, and it's really in everybody's best interest to get everybody better, because that just improves the quality of the racing for everybody. But it's also very personal. If one person reaches out and says, "Hey, I need help with this corner," or "I'm really just not getting this whole track," there will be people there to join in and teach you and help. And I think that's just just speaks to the league. So anyway, I think we've I think people get the point at this point that we enjoy Sunday Night Skippy. Also, if you haven't tried out Saturday Night Shenanigans, that's another fun thing we do on clearly Saturday nights, where it's hosted races, it's silly things, silly track and car combos, or just fun ones. Just to blow off some steam, because it can get a little stressful when you're racing in a league for points or racing public races and you've got safety rating and I rating on the line, and it's like, okay, well, I just kind of want to have fun and goof around and have a adult or not adult beverage with folks on a Saturday night, having fun racing. I would recommend Saturday Night Shenanigans as well. And yeah, I don't know, Ian, any other final thoughts before we log off for the evening?
Not really. For those of you who do enjoy watching this kind of stuff, we're still working on whether or not we're going to be able to broadcast next week's endurance race. Chris is going to actually try and drive. So I'm going to we'll have Chris do the lap talk, and I can sit in the booth or something like that. We'll see. But we're working on that.
Try and drive is the way to put it, for sure.
No, I said try and have you drive. It wasn't that you would try and drive. So you'd be very good. But no. I mean, we're not really sure yet how that's going to work out. There's some technical issues that we've got to figure out. But we do hope that we'll be able to bring you the Week 13 race. You've heard us talk about it a lot. I don't know if we really described what it is, but it's a 3-hour endurance. No, is it 3 hours? Yeah, 3-hour endurance race with teams where the cars actually will swap drivers in the same car during that race. And what we're doing is we're taking the results of the final results of season 2, and we're pairing and then the folks that say they want to be in the race, we're pairing the fastest driver with the slowest driver in one team, and working our way from the outside to the middle. It'll be a multi-class race. There'll be 2 cars in the race. There'll be the Skippy, and then there'll be the new quote-unquote Skippy, the USF 2000. So it's sort of like a bit of a Skippy on a little bit of steroids. Not the guy that really bulked up, but the guy that almost did. It's probably best way to put it. It's at Donington Park in the UK. So again, we're going to go back to a racetrack that's got not just a bit of history, but actually has some named corners to talk about. So there you go. That will be next weekend.
Perfect, and I'm looking forward to it. I hope we can make it work. We're doing a little bit of testing here over the next few days to make sure that the broadcast makes it out to everybody. But yeah, I'm looking forward to getting back on the track with y'all and getting off my high horse up here and making a fool of myself on the stream. I'll be making a fool of myself on the car. So, well, thank you guys. This has been a fantastic season 2 of Sunday Night Skippy. Looking forward to season 3 and what that will bring. And I guess that's all I got.
Yeah, everybody have a wonderful rest of their weekend, what's left, and hopefully we'll be talking to you again next week.
Yes, let's do it. It's a date. And everybody take care of yourselves. Crazy time out there. Stay safe. And we will see you a week from today. Peace out.
Bye.